Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Do well to learn, like and subscribe. And you're free to ask further questions in the comment section. Today, we will be looking at simultaneous equations. Now, what are simultaneous equations? Simultaneous equations are two or more algebraic equations that can be solved at the same time. Linear simultaneous equations with two unknown variables can be solved by using the following methods. 1. Graphical method. 2. Is the elimination method. 3. Substitution method. And finally, 4. Which is the matrix method, also known as Cramer's rule. In this lesson, we will focus on solving linear simultaneous equations algebraically using the substitution method. So now, substitution method is an algebraic technique that involves the solving for one variable in one equation and substituting that expression into the other equation. Then the key steps in substitution method are: 1. Name or number your equations. 2. Solve for one variable. 3. Substitute into the other equation. 4. Solve the equation. 5. Find the second variable. And finally, 6. Check the solution. Don't be scared. I'll walk you through the steps carefully using a very simple example as a case study. Don't forget to ask questions when you feel the need to. Now, let's explain the steps carefully using the equation below as a case study. Which is x plus 2y equals 6 and 3x minus 2y equals 10. Step 1 says, name or number your equations. What does that mean? It means, you look at your equations and just name them equations 1 and equation 2. If the question has 3 equations, you name them, equation 1, equation 2 and equation 3. We are doing this for reference purposes. So whenever I need x plus 2y equals 6, I just refer to it as equation 1. That's all for step 1. And step 2 says, solve for one variable. Solving for one variable means you should look for either x or y. You have to look for one, and when you get one, it helps you get the other one. At this step, what do? This is where you look at your equations very carefully. You look at equation 1 and equation 2 and ask yourself, which equation is simpler? When I mean simpler, I mean in which of these equations does x or y stand alone. If you look at equation 1 and equation 2 closely, you can see that x is standing alone in equation 1, while in equation 2, both x and y have coefficients. When I mean coefficients, I mean, given 2y for example, y is the coefficient of 2 and 2 is a coefficient of y. When I say x has coefficient, it means there is a number standing with it. Now, you can see that x is standing alone in equation 1. While in equation 2, both x and y have coefficients. So it's very easy for you to say that equation 1 is the simpler equation because at this point, it is very easy to change the subject formula and make x the subject of the formula in equation 1. While in equation 2, it's more complex. And here, we are trying to make mathematics easy, so we go for equation 1. Proceeding, we have x plus 2y equals 6 as equation 1. So making x subject of the formula is very easy. We take 2y to the right-hand side of the equation and the sign changes to minus. So we have x equals 6 minus 2y, and now we name it equation 3. At this point, we've gotten x. We've not gotten the answer of x in particular, but then we have made x the subject of formula and we call it equation 3. Moving forward, the next step says substitute into the other equation, and step 4 says solve the equation. So substituting into the other equation, we'll now substitute equation 3 into equation 2. Remember, we worked on equation 1 and made it x equals 6 minus 2y. When we are substituting, we're not going to put it into equation 1 anymore because we've already worked on equation 1. So we are substituting equation 3 into equation 2. So substituting, we have equation 2 that says 3x minus 2y equals 10. Substituting simply means wherever we see x now, we input 6 minus 2y. So proceeding, we have 3. Bracket open, 6 minus 2y, bracket close, then minus 2y equals 10. What next? We just open the brackets like we do in mathematics. 3 multiplied by 6 is 18. 3 multiplied by minus 2y is minus 6y. Then we write down the minus 2y from above, which is now all equal 10. So what do? Minus 6y can be subtracted from 2y because they are alike. So, minus 6y minus 2y is minus 8y. So we write it as 18 minus 8y, which is now equals 10. What do we do next? We take 18 over to the right-hand side of the equation because they are alike. Just so y can stand alone. So we have now minus 8y equals 10 minus 18. You know when a value crosses the equality sign in mathematics, the sign changes. So that's why we have 18 carrying a negative value now. So we have minus 8y equals 10 minus 18. 10 minus 18 is minus 8. So we simply divide both sides by minus 8. Minus 8 will cancel minus 8 on both sides, which gives you y equals 1. Which brings us to step 5 that says, find the second variable. What do? We've gotten y to be equal to 1. We just simply substitute the value for y, which is 1, into equation 3. Remember, we already changed the subject of formula in equation 1 and made x subject of the formula. So we don't need to go back to using equation 1, because equation 1 is complex, but equation 3 is already simple. So what do? We just input 1 wherever we see y, which brings us to x equals 6 minus 2y. And next line is x equals 6 minus 2, bracket open, instead of y now, you input 1, and then bracket close. Very simple. Next line, x equals 6 minus 2 times 1 is 2. So we have x equals 6 minus 2, which is now equal to 4. So at this point, we have x equals to 4 and y equals to 1. We are done. But then the last step is to check the solution, which brings us to step 6. You don't really need to write step 6 in your examination. It is for checking your solution to know if you got it correctly. So, checking the solution is simple. You go back to your original equations, equation 1 and equation 2. Which was the question, and substitute the values for x and value for y you got as your answer. This step is very simple. For equation 1, we have x plus 2y equals 6. I'm simply substituting. Now x equals to 4, we write down 4, plus 2 bracket open, instead of y now, we put 1. Which gives us 2 bracket open, 1 bracket closed, which is now equal to what? 6. Simple. Then, you simplify. We have 4 plus 2 which is now equals to 6. Very good. Now we have 6 on the left-hand side, and 6 on the right-hand side, which means, your answer is correct. Okay, we already did for equation 1, and it was correct. So what next? We do the same for equation 2. I'm sure by now we all know how to do this. So we have 3x minus 2y equals 10 from equation 2. The next thing to do is substitute the values for x and y, which is x equals 4 and y equals 1 in equation 2. Now we have 3, bracket open, 4, bracket closed, minus 2, bracket open. Instead of y, now we put 1, like we did initially, and close the bracket. Which is all equal to what? 10. Now we have 3 times 4 which is 12, and 2 times 1 is 2. So you simply have 12 minus 2 equal to 10. We all know 12 minus 2 is equals to 10, and we have 10 on the other side. So the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, which means our answer is correct. Take a minute to like and subscribe, that's how you appreciate us. So after walking you through the steps, we try examples. So example 1, the question is 2x minus 2y equals minus 6, and x plus 2y equals 3. So what do? Step 1 is to name your equations. So we have 2x minus 2y equals minus 6 as equation 1, and we have x plus 2y equals 3, and we call it what? Equation 2. Moving forward, the next step is to look at your equations and pick the easiest one. Which one of the equations is looking simpler? We can see that equation 2 is looking simpler because x is standing alone here. So we simply just say, from equation 2, which is x plus 2y equals 3. Make x subject of the formula, which is by taking 2y to the right-hand side of the equation, which gives us x equals 3 minus 2y. Remember, whenever a variable is crossing from the left-hand side to the right-hand side or from the right-hand side to the left-hand side, the sign will change. If it was positive, it turns to negative, and if it was negative, it will turn to what? Positive. So here we have x is now equal to 3 minus 2y. Since x is now subject of the formula, we call it equation 3. So the next step is to substitute equation 3 into equation 1. So substituting equation 3 into equation 1, we have 2 bracket open, 3 minus 2y bracket closed, then minus 2y, all equal to minus 6. So the next step is to open the brackets. 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times minus 2y is what? Minus 4y. And we also write the minus 2y from above, which is all equal to what? Minus 6. Simple. Now, minus 4y minus 2y is equals to minus 6y, because they are like terms. So we simply just have 6 minus 6y, which is equal to what? Minus 6. Moving forward, we have 6 minus 6y equals what? Minus 6. What do? We take like terms. By taking like terms, we take 6 over to the right-hand side of the equation and leave minus 6y standing on its own on the left-hand side. So we have minus 6y equals minus 6, minus 6. So what do we have? We know minus 6 is equal to minus 12. So we have minus 6y equals minus 12. The next step is to divide both sides by minus 6, which gives us minus 6y divided by minus 6 equal to minus 12 divided by minus 6. They will cancel out and give us y equals 2. The next thing to do is to substitute the value for y, which is 2, into equation 3. So we have from equation 3, which is x equals 3 minus 2y. Now, anywhere we see y, we input 2. So moving forward, we have x equals 3 minus 2, bracket open, put in your 2, which is the value for y, and close the bracket. Next step is to resolve the bracket. Minus 2 times 2 is equals to minus 4. We have x equals 3 minus 4, which takes us to the last step. Here, 3 minus 4 is equal to minus 1, which makes x equal to what? Minus 1. Therefore, our answers are x equals minus 1 and y equals 2. Remember, the last step is to check. So we check our solutions in the next slide. Now, you check for answers. I already told you how to do this. You go to your original questions, which are equation 1 and equation 2, and input the values you got, which are your answers. We got x equals minus 1 and y equals 2. So we are inputting x equals minus 1 and y equals 2 in equation 1 to see if our left-hand side and our right-hand side are equal. So what do we have here? We have 2x minus 2y equals minus 6. Substituting values, we have 2, bracket open, minus 1, bracket close, minus 2, bracket open, 2, and bracket close, equals what? Minus 6. Now we resolve our brackets, which is 2 multiplied by minus 1 gives us minus 2, and minus 2 multiplied by 2 gives us what? Minus 4. So minus 2 minus 4 is equals to minus 6. And we have minus 6 on the right-hand side, which makes minus 6 on the left-hand side equal to minus 6 on the right-hand side. Which means our answer is correct. So moving forward, we check for equation 2. In equation 2, we have x plus 2y equals 3. Substituting the values, we know the value for x is minus 1, write it down, plus 2, bracket open. The value for y is what? 2. We write 2 and close the bracket. Which is all equal to what? 3. The next step is to resolve your brackets. So 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4. It takes us to the next line that says minus 1 plus 4 equals what? 3. So we have 3 on the left-hand side and 3 on the right-hand side, which makes our answer correct. Moving forward, let's look at another example. We have example 2, which is 3a plus 3b equals 18, and 5a plus 3b equals 28. So, the first step is to name your equations. The first one being 3a plus 3b equals 18 is called equation 1, and 5a plus 3b equals 28 is called what? Equation 2. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Looking at both equations, none of your a nor b is standing alone, so you have to now observe very well. If you observe closely, you will see that equation 1 is kind of still simpler, cause both 3 and 18 are both divisible by 3. So it can be reduced. So what do? We pick equation 1 and say, from equation 1, which is 3a plus 3b equals 18, the first thing to do is to factorize out 3 because 3 is common between 3a and 3b. So you factor 3 out. So you have 3 bracket open a plus b bracket close equals 18. Remember, the whole essence of this is to make either a or b subject of the formula. If you have another methods to make either a or b subject of the formula, you are free to apply them. So, What is the next step? You divide both sides of the equation by 3. You now have 3, bracket open, a plus b, bracket close. All divided by 3, equal to what? 18 divided by 3. So 3 can cancel 3 from the left-hand side to leave you with a plus b, and also 18 divided by 3 on the right-hand side is equal to what? 6. We now have a plus b equals what? 6. Making b subject of the formula, simply by taking a to the right-hand side and the sign will change. So we have b equals what? 6 minus a, and we call it equation 3. Remember from the previous slide that it was equation 1 that turned into equation 3 after we changed the subject formula. So now, we are substituting equation 3 into equation 2, not equation 1 anymore, because equations 1 and 3 are almost the same thing. So now, we are substituting equation 3 now into equation 2. Now, what is equation 2? Equation 2 is 5a plus 3b equals 28, which means anywhere we see b now, we are going to input equation 3, which is 6 minus a. Now, we have 5a plus 3. Instead of b, now we put 6 minus a and close the bracket, which is all equal to 28. The next step is to open the bracket. Opening the bracket, we have 5a plus 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times minus a is what? Minus 3a, then all equal to 28. The next line is to take like terms. By taking like terms, we bring the a's together and the numbers that look alike together. Doing that, we have 5a minus 3a. 18 will go over to the right-hand side to be with 28, because they are like terms. After that, we know that 5a can minus 3a, which will give us 2a. Then 28 minus 18 will give us 10. So now we divide both sides by 2. 2 will cancel 2 on the left-hand side to give us a. Then we say, a equals 10 divided by 2. And 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So we get our answer for a, which is 5. The next step is to substitute value for a into equation 3. We know equation 3 to be b equals 6 minus a. Now, the value for a is 5, which brings us to the next line that says b equals 6 minus, instead of a, we put 5. Now, 6 minus 5 is equal to 1, so we say b is equal to 1. Therefore, our answers are a equals 5, and b equals 1. I believe if we've been following, we should know how to check our answers by now. So, I'm substituting the values for a and b into equation 1. Solving this will give us 18 on both the left-hand side and the right-hand side, which means our answer is correct. Moving forward, doing the same for equation 2 will leave us having 28 on the left-hand side and 28 on the right-hand side, which means our answer is also correct. So, take a few seconds to look through the checking and confirm our answers are correct so we can move on to a little more complex question. Not complex really, but to get more in-depth on simultaneous equations. You see, your answer is correct. Now let's move on to the next example. Take a minute to like and subscribe, that's how you appreciate us. Now, example 3. We have 3x plus 4y equals 9 and 2x plus 3y equals 8. Solution: the first step is to name your equations. So, we name 3x plus 4y equals 9, equation 1. And name 2x plus 3y equals 8, equation 2. Now, we look at both equations. What do you notice? They're both complex. They have same complexities. So, what do? You can pick any of them at this point, but I chose to pick equation 1. You can pick equation 2 and solve and see what you get. But personally, I'm picking equation 1. I don't want this video to be too long. I would have done both case studies, but I'm picking equation 1. So, from equation 1, we have 3x plus 4y equals 9. Now, we are going to solve for either x or y, but I choose to solve for x. You can choose to solve for y on your own, but I'm choosing to solve for x first. Solving for x, I'll have to make x subject of the formula. Which means I'll take every other thing except x to the right-hand side. How do we do that? We have 3x plus 4y equals 9. So, we are taking 4y to the right-hand side, which will change the sign from positive to negative. That's why we have 3x equals 9 minus 4y. What was the next step? The next step is to remove the 3 from x. To do that, we are going to divide both sides of the by 3. Dividing, 3 will cancel 3 on the left-hand side to give us x equals 9 minus 4y all divided by 3. Next step, remember, this 3 on the right-hand side belongs to both 9 and 4y. That's why you can separate them to give us 9 over 3 minus 4y over 3. Now, the next step, 9 can be divided by 3. That's why 9 over 3 turns to 3. 4 and 3 have nothing in common, so we are going to write them down as it is, which is 4y over 3. And call it equation 3. Now, the next step is to substitute equation 3 into equation 2. How do we do that? We recall equation 2 to be 2x plus 3y equals 8. Now, substituting means, anywhere we see x, we are going to put 3 minus 4y over 3. Now, we're going to write this down as 2 bracket open. Instead of x, now, we'll put the value for x, which is 3 minus 4y over 3 and close the bracket, plus 3y, all equal to 8. Now, we solve the bracket. By opening the brackets, we have 2 times 3, which is equal to 6, minus 2 times 4y is equal to 8y. And if you are multiplying a whole number by a fraction, then, multiply the whole number by the value on top, which is the numerator. If you are multiplying a fraction by a fraction, the numerator will multiply the numerator, and the denominator will multiply the denominator. Have this in mind. So close the bracket, then put our 3y, all equal to 8. The next step is to take like terms. We take 6 over to the right-hand side to meet its fellow whole number, which will now leave us with minus 8y over 3 plus 3y over 1. All equal to 8 minus 6. Remember I said when you have a fraction, the top is the numerator and the bottom is the denominator. If you have a whole number, let's say 5 for example, 5 can also be written as 5 over 1, because if 5 divided by 1 is still equal to 5. Moving forward, we add fractions. If you don't know how to add fraction, this is where you listen carefully. Look at the both denominators and say, what is the LCM of 3 and 1? The LCM of 3 and 1 is 3, because both 3 and 1 can be divided by 3. So, we write 3. Now, we say 3 in 3 is 1. 1 times minus 8y is what? Minus 8y. We write that down and put the plus sign in between them. And also say, 1 into 3 is 3. Now, 3 times 3y is 9y. You write it down, equal to 8 minus 6 which is 2. Now, if you don't know how to add fractions, please highlight that in the comment section so I can make a video for that. Now, we are going to add minus 8y plus 9y which is equal to 1y, which can also be written as y, because 1 times anything is still that value. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 10 is 10. 1 times y is y. Now, there you say y divided by 3. Equal to 2. Now, what do we do here? This is where we now say multiply both sides by 3. We do this just to eliminate the denominator from y, so y can stand alone. If you multiply y over 3 by 3, the 3 up will cancel the 3 down to leave y standing alone, equal to 2 multiplied by 3 on the right-hand side is equal to 6. That's why y is equal to 6. Now, the next thing is to find your value for x. To find that, we are going to substitute our value for y which we have gotten into equation 3. Remember, y is now equal to 6. So we write down equation 3 which is x equals 3 minus 4y over 3. Now, substituting, we have x equals 3 minus 4 bracket open 6 and close the bracket all divided by 3. The next line we have x to be equal to 3 minus 4 times 6 is 24. Write down our 24, then divided by 3. Now the next step, x will now be equal to 3 minus 24 divided by 3 is 8. Which makes 3 minus 8 to be equal to minus 5. Therefore, we have x to be equal to minus 5 and y to be equal to 6. Moving forward, take the next few seconds to check your answers by substituting x equals minus 5 and y equals 6 in both equation 1 and equation 2. Doing that, we got 9 on our left-hand side and 9 on our right-hand side for equation 1, and 8 on our left-hand side and 8 on our right-hand side for equation 2, which means our answers are correct. Congratulations, you are now a master of solving simultaneous equations by substitution. I will make another video explaining simultaneous equation by elimination method, and another video on how to make the graph of simultaneous equations. I will also make another on how to solve simultaneous equation using matrix method. Now, I have practice questions after this slide, which you can try on your own. Tell me the answer in the comment section, and let's see if you got it correctly. Thank you, guys, and watch out for my next video.